Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem El Shai Bashem Makakodah. Shalom to the 144,000. And the rest of the elect out there, shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, The Importance of Root Words, Etymology, so you can understand. The study of truth, or the study, in other words, in order you come across a word, you want to get a deeper understanding of that word, you look it up. You might go to a dictionary, Merriam-Webster's or some other dictionary, or you might even go into the etymon of the word. Where did the word stem from? What is the root of the word? So if you watch us, of course, GMS. From the apostles on down, a lot of times we'll go into the scriptures, whether we're out there on the highways and the byways or we're doing a sit down. We'll go through certain precepts and we'll click on, we'll use blue letter. And by the way, blue letter vocab and what's this guy, BK apologist, whatever, they said, oh, these guys, to harden them, they use the blue letter that's written by a so-called. First of all, we don't have to go to the blue letter. We don't need this stuff. This is for you people out there, to show you that even these so-called scholars, these Edomites, they say the same thing that we say. So if we make a statement, we go into a scripture, we says it means this, that, and the third, and they might say, oh, you guys just made it up. Okay, so now let's go to the Bible Hub. Let's go to the commentary. Let's go to the blue letter. Let's go to these different sites and see what these scholars say. Because you don't believe us, but you believe these scholars. So when we show you that the scholars say the same thing that we say, then you gotta say, oh wait, well y'all got me. Anyway, we get on RUIC a lot because they don't go on the root words. Yahweh Shab said, the English is good enough for me. Oh, well, if the English is good enough for you, why don't you call yourself Joseph? That's the English way of saying Yahweh Shop. And that's Paleo. It's Paleo Hebrew, but it's according to Nate, it's Ebonics. Kanai Gabar. That's Paleo Hebrew. So anyway. So I came across, the reason why what caused me to come across this was, let me bring this up. They're bringing out these old movies. This was a big deal. When this movie came out, the original 10 Commandments, actually it was one that was made by Cecil B. DeMille's in the early 20s. And you had an actor by the name of Rex Ingram. Look him up. He was the guy that played the Most High. And he played a bunch of characters in the movie Green Pastures, but he played the Most High. He had the white hair, and he was big. He was a big Jake actor back then. Now, he's been acting since the 20s, and he played in the original 10 Commandments, which was put out in the 20s. The exact year I don't know. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody help me out. But the role that he played, if you go into the movies that this guy, they give you a profile of different actors, and they'll give you a list of movies that he played in. And one of the movies that he played in was the original 10 Commandments, produced by Cecil B. DeMille, if I'm not mistaken. And his role, he played a Hebrew slave, and Rex Ingram was a straight up so-called African American black man. So, what should that tell you? That Cecil B. DeMille knew that the original Israelites were so-called black people, because if this guy, as a so-called black man, played a Hebrew slave, then Moses, the main character, had to look just like his brother. But anyway, yeah, this was just put up. They don't put the year. Let me do this. Let me open this up. Give me a second. They don't say. Maybe I'm overlooking something. But anyway, when you go to the comments, yeah, Charlton Heston played the main character. Who's this? Give me a second here. Yul Brynner played the Pharaoh. Where's this chick that played? She played Moses' wife, which that was she was a Jake. Lily Monster was a Jake. She's from Spain, Spanish actress. Anyway, when you go to the comments, you see that the comments, that's 8 days ago, 8 days ago, 2 days ago, 9 days ago, 7 days ago, 8 days ago. So this was just put up. This was just put up. Maybe 2 weeks ago. Let me see how many hits does this thing have. Okay, you got 42,000 likes. So they made a big deal. They had back in the day, in the 50s, even in the 60s, even some of the 70s, you had, when you went to the movies, it was like you had to dress up. You couldn't just come anywhere you want. You had to put on you got to usually Sunday nights, go to see an epic movie as a child, and you had to put the tie on, suit and tie on. You had to put your Sunday best on. You had the usher would give you the seat, and you know the theaters were plush. It was a whole different experience than nowadays. But anyway, they made a big deal. Now in this, let me see. Okay, this guy is, I believe this is Cecil B. DeMille, and he comes out and he comes from behind the curtain, and he mentions the certain scriptures, Josephus. He mentions the book of Philo, which Philo was a historian. He was a Jake that came about before Josephus, and he even mentioned Josephus right about here. And then he says this movie will have back then you had intermissions. You had them long movies, 3 hours. In the middle of it, the camera would stop and you'd go, no fights, no gunshots. You go to the bathroom or whatever, then you come and sit back down. Then it would start the second half of the movie. You know? That was a different time back then. It's a completely different time. But anyway, this led me to this subject right here. Okay, for example, I was looking for, Simon, whether it be Simon of Cyrene or Simon the Canaanite. Simon the Canaanite was one of the disciples, which became one of the apostles. You had Simon Bar Jonas, or Simon the son of Jonah, which there was no J. I had to look up the word Jonah in the Hebrew. Somebody help me out. I believe Yahan, I believe. I can look it up. It's no big deal. But it says here Simon the Canaanite and Judas Iscariot. Simon the Canaanite, this word a Canaanite, like if you rolled up on, for example, the IUIC, and you say, Simon, he said, you guys only said that the Lord only came for the Israelites. Well, one of the disciples was a Canaanite. So how would they answer that? I don't know if anybody ever rolled up on him. But they would probably say, oh, he was an Israelite living in the land of Canaan, which they would be wrong on. It didn't mean that he was living in the land of Canaan. The word Canaanite, let's look up the word Canaanite. Simon the Canaanite, he's one of the 12. And he will be forever one of the 12 apostles. The only one was replaced was Judas Iscariot. He was replaced by Matthias. And a lot of Christians don't know that. So what happened to Judas Iscariot? And who replaced him? They probably don't know. I got to get back more into my Bible. That's what the black women say. You got some women, Jake women, that call themselves Christians. Oh, I'm into the church. I'm into reading my Bible every day. You know, I'll ask them a simple question, and they'll look at me and they say, I got to get back more of my Bible. So Simon the Canaanite. Let's look up the word Canaanite. And it does not mean the ancient Canaanites. I'm not talking about a landmass or a people. This is back to the basics. It's a Greek word that goes back to the Hebrew. It's a Greek way of saying Quana'a. Quana'a. Like you had this famous Gadite named Quanapaka. Quana is Hebrew. And it means jealous, you know? Like you're jealous for the Most High. Like if you're jealous for your mother. You have a snap session. We call them snap sessions. Crack sessions when you snapping. And as soon as somebody mention your mama, you ready to beat the nigga up. Because you're jealous for your mother. So that's where the Hebrew word Quana or Quana'a come from. It means zealous or jealous. Like we're jealous for this word. When an Edomite come up and say, oh, the Lord is a white man, then you want to show him in the scriptures that he's going off because you're jealous you're jealous for the scriptures. Give me a second here. Right, he was also known as Zelotes, which literally means zealous. They have a zeal, right, for the Most High. That's the churches. The churches, a lot of these black churches, the reason why they don't want to become Israelite because they have a zeal for that Christianity because they've been into it for so long. They're generation after generation. So when you come with the facts, they can't see it. What is the term? Cognizant? What's that damn term? Somebody help me out. Cognizant dissonance. Let me look that up. Give me a second. Okay, I'll go right here. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me see if the Bible Hub will help me. Let me see. I just want to pull out the script. Okay, let me do this. Guarantee you the common, everyday, run-of-the-mill Christian, he's not going to have the answer. Now, somebody that spend X amount of years at a theological cemetery, they might be able to answer. I just want to see what they say in the commentary. You can't take the scriptures always as face value. Sometimes you got to dig. Study to show thyself approved, meaning you got to dig, you know. You got to labor to achieve, the old saying. Okay, let me let this change. How long does 1 million? All right, here we go. Let's see what the Cambridge says. That's normally the shortest one. Okay, a little bit long. So, okay, it says Simon the Canaanite, not Simon the Canaanite, not Canaanite. They got it. Or Zelotes, equivalent term, the fierce party of the Zealots. So this guy Simon the Canaanite, the word there should be Simon the Zealot. So I don't got to read anymore. Profess a rigid attachment to the Mosaic law. They acknowledge no king save the Most High. Right, because when they put up the Romans, they were like, nah, we're the Israelites. We're special people. We're gonna fight against them. That's why ultimately you had those series of wars. Under Judas, the Gaulonite, they rose in rebellion at the time of the census. And the census was a tax. The census was nothing but a tax. They knew how many people was in that province so they can tax them accordingly. So I don't got to read anymore. So even they say it, right? That's why you got these Christians. You got to give it to them Israelites. They do know them scriptures. And why do we know them scriptures? Because we're constantly studying. We're going into root words. We're going into a thing called etymology, the root of the word or the truth of the word. Let me see what it says right. Burns notes on the Bible. Simon the Canaanite. Luke calls him Simon Zelotes. Right, because the zealous. Yeah, because he was a zealot. It is because you had cutthroats that followed Yahushua. You had who was that? That was not Mark. Was it Mark or Matthew? He was a tax collector. He's a publican, so people hated that guy. He was collecting taxes. He would be considered like a coon. It is probable that he was one of the small sect of the Jews called Zealots. So the word Canaan goes to the word Quana'ah, which means zealous one, jealous one. So there you go. So anyway, you got this movie, and it had to be put up within the last week and a half, 2 weeks. You can tell by the comments. Looking at the thumbnail. Yeah, you get this paternity court. It's a damn. You know what? We truly under the curses when you gotta take a man to court to say that this shit is embarrassing, man. We are fucking embarrassed. We are embarrassed at seeing you Jakes, and it all goes back to you fucking woman. She was the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. It started with Eve. She fucked up. Adam didn't see, but the woman being in transgression. That's what the Apostle Paul said. Okay, so this right here, this is like supposed to be the best movie on Christ, the greatest story ever told. This is the main character was Max von Sydow. He played the hell out of Jesus. I'm gonna say Jesus. He played the hell out of Jesus, and he played the hell out of the devil in a movie called Needful Things, a classic movie, Needful Things. It was about the devil being on top, running shit. I mean, that's a classic movie. Let's do it again. Uptown Saturday, that's a sequel to Uptown Saturday Night. Jake, they went to the series of these movies. Uptown Saturday Night. Then you had the sequel, then you had another sequel. Oh, this might be cool. The Bible collection, Genesis. 80, the Bible continues. And I bet you most people, our average people, don't know, are clueless when it comes to the acronym AD. Does it mean after death? No, it's Latin. Let me see what they got. Else what they got. Jesus of Nazareth. And Nate says he causes the beast to speak. See, he's speaking. No, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. Need to stop it, Bishop. King David with what's this guy? What's his name? Greer. His name David Greer, whatever his name is. The hell is his name? Anyway, he played King David. You know, you can watch it and you filter it through the scriptures. Billy Graham, An Extraordinary Journey. Now he said that long before I came, when I was about 12, 13, he did a sermon. He used to always be on TV, and he said. He said, I believe the Messiah was a black man. He actually said that. He never said it again, but he said it that one time. And this is the worst biblical movie that ever came out. It was myself and I think it was all the apostles. It was myself, Apostle Gabar, Apostle Ricard, Apostle Ramlab. We sitting in the movie and shit with our scholarly caps on, and we say this is some bullshit. And my Jada Pinkett voice in the movie Bamboozled, you said this is some bullshit. It's the worst biblical movie that was ever made. The movie Max von Sydow, The Greatest Story Ever Told. Well, this should be called the worst biblical movie ever made. And he played Noah, and he was bugging out. Oh, one of the sons of Cain snuck on the ship. He started eating iguanas. I mean, you want to watch this just for a laugh? The biblical collection, Jeremiah. Dune, this is about Esau and his power. I used to love, as a child, I used to love these movies. The Sinbad, I used to love these movies, man. I used to love movies with ancient, like, hey, when this movie came out, it come out like every year. And when we was in the Bronx, them streets would be empty, boy, because we got to see the 10 Commandments. We know we saw it. This is the 12th year we saw it, but you got to sit down and see it. You know, that and Elvis Presley movies. Yo, Elvis Presley movie, new Elvis Presley movie. And the streets in the Bronx are empty. Everybody was watching Elvis Presley. Because Elvis Presley never had an original thought in his mind. He never did an original song. All the songs he did were called covers. But I believe he's a Jake. And he stole that style from this Jake. Now, the Apostle Gabar, he can give me, because he told me, and I said, what? I said, yeah, he stole the style from this Jake. So I went to the video, and that dude sounded just like Elvis. Actually, Elvis sounded just like him. Hey, like Madonna, her whole style, she got that from Jody Watley. When Jody Watley, she went solo. Madonna wasn't around, and Madonna was following her lead. Okay. What is this all about? Even bug. Oh yeah, I was watching this. Everybody's acknowledging that with the Israelites, and you going off if you an Israelite. Got 6 baby daddies. That's a Tyler Perry movie right there. Yeah, these women your sisters are completely fucking out of order. Completely out of order. Not all of them, but 99% of them are completely out of order. That's why I said, man, sometimes you got to get a woman of another nation, brother. But don't marry them. The Hebrew prayer for more obedience. Yeah, Trump is he's looking bad. He's looking real bad, man. He's looking real bad. Just like when he was back as Nero. Now Nero, in the beginning, he was accepted by the people, and at the end of his reign, he was hated by the people, and he wound up committing suicide. I hate to be the one you commit suicide to. Okay, nothing but lawlessness. I gotta watch this. T.K. Kirkland. So your typical Negro says he loves it here in Babylon. Oh well, good. You love it here in Babylon. You're gonna love that chip. You're gonna love that chip. Wait a minute, what's this? Silver is the biggest threat to the bankers' dream of control via CBDC. Yeah, I subscribe to this individual right here. Gotta watch this video. We'll go back to the old paths. This is In Camp, GMS The Basics. I subscribe to him out of Chi-Town. This is a classic. I remember that. I was downtown in the Wall Street area. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom. On to the next.